Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today, it's been free agency is basically over, right? Most of the guys have signed at this point. Now we are going to go ahead and do our post free agency ranking of NFL teams. Um, this is going to be just for the next season. This isn't for any extended period of time. I don't care about your last year, although I'll take it into account. I will not rank teams just because they had a good last season. That's not how that works. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's go ahead and get right into it. For the top tier, we'll go through the tiers real quick. Super Bowl or Riot. Pretty self-explanatory. This team needs to win a Super Bowl this year, or else I would consider it a failure of a season. Not too many teams going there, but it'll be a failure of a season. 2025 Patriots. This team can take a Patriots like jump. Actually, hold on, we're gonna switch these teams real quick. Okay. Second tier is Zac Efron 2013. Zac Efron in his prime, probably is wrapping up filming a Baywatch and High School Musical 3. Very different movies, or so I've been told. He was top of the world, great actor, couldn't go wrong. Everybody was loving Zac Efron. Like all my family members were loving Zac Efron. I was loving Zac Efron. Um, Next tier is the 2025 Patriots. This team could take a 2025 Patriots like jump. They could surprise people in the playoffs, make it far. Think of the 2024 Commanders. Next tier would win NFC South. The NFC South is so bad that you would win the NFC South. Your team could win that division. Um, you would not a great record, but an above average record because nobody in that division is above average. Next tier, pineapple on pizza. I think this is pretty easy for me. I think pineapple on pizza has got to be single-handedly the most overrated and underrated pizza topping I've ever heard. I've had it. It's just mid. It's average. It's not good. It's not bad. I would eat it if it was given to me. I'd eat it on a Hawaiian pizza. I would never order it. Right? I think that's like the bar when you're talking about good food. It's like, would you order it at a restaurant when you have so many options? I would never order pineapple on pizza, but I will eat it if it's in front of me. Last place in the NFC North, pretty self-explanatory. Your team is slightly below average, but you'd finish last in the NFC North because the last couple of years, I think they've all finished above 500. Um, we'll move on. Gardner Minshew will play for your team at some point. He'll play for you at some point, you or your team. Again, pretty self-explanatory, right? Gardner Minshew, backup quarterback. You know he's going to start some games for your team because your quarterback always gets hurt. So this is kind of the teams that are bad. Quarterback will get hurt. You'll need a bridge guy. Gardner Minshew is going to play for your team. Zac Efron 2026 is the next tier. Have you guys seen Zac Efron with the plastic surgery that he had? He looks awful. He looks like a 90s Ken doll. If that doll got plastic surgery, I mean, he looks more plastic than plastic. He looks he looks like handsome Squidward if they like shoved him into a box. The next tier is the Browns. Then the next tier is the Dolphins. We'll get to there. If you guys don't know what teams are going to be in there, we'll get there eventually. Why are these logos so blurry? All right, we're gonna deal with blurry logos for this. I don't know why, but we'll start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars, for me, are going into the would win NFC South category. I don't see them going much higher than this. I think Trevor Lawrence has hit his ceiling with this team. I think he's had everything around him at this point in this season to make deep playoff runs, and it just hasn't. The defense was amazing at forcing turnovers. They got rid of Travis Etienne or Achan, what do you want to call him? Got a couple solid backups. The receivers are still good. You have Brian Thomas Jr. there. You have Travis Hunter. So I think they're going to finish around that 9-win mark, but that is more than enough to win the NFC South. I want to see better from them, or I really want to see more from Trevor Lawrence. Um, Texans as well. I see them also as would win the NFC South. And I just don't believe in CJ Stroud at this point. I really was a big believer after his rookie year. Last 2 years, he has severely disappointed me. He lacks the touch on he lacks the touch on intermediate and deep throws. I don't know if it's the way he throws, but it's definitely a lack of arm strength from what I'm seeing, and his lack of awareness in the pocket is abnormally high, especially with as bad of an offensive line that he has had. It's like he never. It's like every play his mind wipes, and he doesn't understand that pass rushers are coming after him, and his offensive line is absolute fucking buns. So, with that being said, they're going to go in would win NFC South because I do think they're going to finish with 9 or 10 wins, probably lose in the first round of the playoffs. Green Bay Packers. I think they're Zac Efron 2013 for me. I think this is pretty easy. I don't know if it's Super Bowl or bust, although I do think they can get there. Their second year with Micah Parsons, he had to have him under contract for a long time. Jordan Love's under contract for a long time. They've signed a couple of their receivers. Josh Jacobs is still under contract, so you don't have to do it this year. But obviously, it would be nice. But they're going to be a really good team as long as everybody stays healthy, which was not happening last year. And if they really assess corner in the draft, I think they could be really good heading into 2026. So I'm excited for the Packers. I think they're going to win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. Look at my previous video ranking every team's NFL teams next 5 years. Give it a watch. Give it a watch. And like and subscribe, by the way. I appreciate that. The Cowboys are next. They're average, right? I think we've gone a little overboard with the Cowboys hate. I think they're going to be better in 2026, but I really think it's going to take a couple of years to really show major improvement. That's when they have some of their draft picks. Um, because they traded away, they traded away some for Quinn Williams, stuff like that. But I think the Cowboys are going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine. I think when you're looking at pineapple on pizza, you're looking about 7, 8 wins. I think they're going to be a solid team. Their defense is, I know, it got better towards the end of last year, and I think it can get there if you want to make like hot takes or bold predictions. But I think realistically, we can expect them to be an average team. The NFC East is going to be a good division, relatively, maybe the second or third best division. And overall, do you believe this is a regular season? Well, not a regular season wins tier list, but the regular season and the postseason matter. So it's not just a postseason tier list. The regular season does matter. And I think the Cowboys are going to pass their way to 8 wins. And I think that's what they're going to be. Last place. Oh, sorry. The Bears. I think they're going to be Zac Efron 2013. I love the Bears and I love their last season. Caleb Williams is a dog. Um, I love that they got rid of DJ Moore, honestly, so they can give Romo Dunze really those wide receiver one reps that I think he deserves at this point. Um, Cole Kmet and Colson Loveland are one of the best tight end duos in the league. Huge revamped offensive line. I mean, Drew Dahlman just retired, unfortunately, at age 27. I hope him and his family are doing well. But the Bears have a really stout defense, good defensive line. They lost Tremaine Edmonds in free agency, but they still have a bunch of guys there on the back end to help supplement that. And I think they're going to be fine for 2026. There's Zac Efron 2013. They're going to be a really good team, and I'm excited to watch them. Bills. Bills are Super Bowl or riot, as they've been for the last 5 years. Oh boy. Maybe Josh Allen getting Haley Steinfeld pregnant can spark something in their relationship and on this damn football team. Because this football team plays with no heart once they get to the playoffs. It's like, I mean, it's turnover on the offense, lack of turnover on the defense, giving up big plays on defense, lack of big plays on offense. I mean, this team just bothers me. It really does. I love watching the Bills play football, and I love Josh Allen. I also love Haley Steinfeld. I'm a huge fan, but I'm going to start rioting if they don't win anything, even get to the Super Bowl within the next 2 years, because Josh Allen deserves one, and this team plays like poo whenever they make the playoffs or win one playoff game. So I'm really hoping they can because they made some adjustments. They brought in DJ Moore, brought in some supplementary pieces, but Jesus, like I mean, they got to do something else. Just I don't know what they have to do just to get over this hump and make the damn Super Bowl. Chiefs are Super Bowl or bust as well. I thought originally when Patrick Mahomes got hurt, he was going to be out for a lot longer. Turns out he could be back for week 1, although I don't think he is. But if he comes back before week 5, the Super Bowl is still the expectation. They just re-signed Travis Kelce to a 3-year deal worth like $55 million. I thought Travis Kelce was contemplating retirement. Apparently, he signed a new 3-year deal. I mean, $54 million talks. I'd do whatever job you wanted for $54 million. Literally anything. This is obviously overall a great roster. They lost some guys like Leo Chanel, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams. that we've talked about a couple times on this channel. But they're still a Super Bowl team. I mean, they have some guys in the and they lost Brian Cook. They still have some guys in the back end, and they're going to be good as long as Patrick Mahomes is playing football. They're going to be a good team. I know last year was weird, but I think it was a blip in an overall semi-perfect resume. Broncos are Super Bowl or bust. I think they proved that last year. With Bo Nix, they were going to make the Super Bowl probably. So it's Super Bowl or bust again, right? Absolutely. Defense is one of the best I've ever seen. I could like I could just watch the Broncos 2025 defense over and over and over again, and I wouldn't be mad at it. I could watch defensive plays. I could watch linebackers cover holes one sideline to sideline. I could watch Pat Surtain cover anybody. I mean, it's like a beautiful. It's like poetry. It's beautiful to watch. They're one of the best teams in the NFL, and Bo Nix has proved me wrong. I was a Bo Nix doubter, um, and he looks good going into 2026 as long as his ankle is good and ready to go for 2026. The Carolina Panthers. I've been getting a lot of heat for it in my last video about placing the Panthers lower on my list. And I don't really know why. I mean, we're seeing the ceiling of this team. It took a lot of miraculous victories, and we. I love Bryce Young as a player. I do. I do love him. I want him to succeed, but he just has deficiencies that either can't be coached or are too negative to his game to bring him to an elite player. And to play for the Panthers, you have to overpay for players. So you're always overpaying for players, and the Panthers don't have a great draft history. I mean, look at Xavier Legette. Look at all the previous picks between now and then, or between Cam Newton and now. Like you're just not getting much. Okay, well, not from Cam Newton now. From like 2015 and on, they haven't not hit on a lot of their draft picks. So I just can't trust this organization to go more than 500 this upcoming season. And they're going to have a first place schedule because they just finished in first place. So I think they could even finish lower than this. Um, in fact, you know what? Screw it. I am putting them lower than this. They're going to have a much harder schedule next year. They're going to be playing some first place teams, and I think they could be last place in the NFC North, still get to like 7 wins, but they'd be last place in the NFC North. Very sorry, Panthers fans. I love you. Bucks are going to be pineapple on pizza. Bucks are going to be average. I want the Bucks to be better than this. Although I'm not a Bucks fan, I do live in Florida, so it's nice when the Bucks do good. But Baker, I saw a huge regression last year. I know he was hurt, but even after he came back, people were saying he was still hurt. I think his mechanics looked fine. I just think he didn't have any trust in either his receivers or himself. He did not want to get hit as often. His offensive line definitely deteriorated. I know he dealt with some injuries up there as well. I don't know if they bring back Lavonte David because that's still going on, but they shouldn't because he was really bad. They lost their best corner, Jamel Dean. They're signing old linebackers. They're picking up old linebackers like a hooker in Vegas. They're just picking up anybody off the street. And I just don't see a really bright future for them in 2026. And obviously the elephant in the room, Mike Evans is gone. So now your number one receiver is Emeka Egbuka, who was not doing a great job at getting open last year via those next gen stats. One of the worst receivers in the league at getting open. So they're going to be pineapple on pizza until they show something for me. If you guys have seen any of my rankings, you guys know I think the Vikings are always just average, and I think they'll continue to be average. I think Kyler Murray is going to be an improvement, but they've lost some guys. They lost Jalen Naylor. He signed a big deal in free agency. Who knows if the tacklers are going to be healthy? Honestly, I never predict injuries, but I feel like you almost could with this Vikings offensive line unit. Brian O'Neill and I always forget the other guy's name. It's not Rashawn Slater. It's the other one. Whatever. He always gets hurt. I always forget his name. He always gets one of them always gets hurt every single year, so you can almost kind of assume one of them is going to get hurt, even though I don't like doing that. And they're going to be bang on average for me. Defense is fine. Brian Flores, I think, is still there. They'll be aggressive. They'll be really aggressive, and they'll win 8 to 9 games. New England Patriots. They're going to would win the NFC South. I know some people aren't going to like that, but their schedule is going to be a lot harder this year, and they did not improve in free agency as much as I would have liked them to. Um, they signed Romeo Dobbs to a big 3-year deal. They lost Stephon Diggs, so I think that's a loss there. Drake May is obviously good. Hopefully, right? You hope he's going to get better. You hope Travion Henderson gets better. You hope Will Campbell gets better, but obviously none of these are guarantees. And again, as we talked about with the Panthers, you have that first place schedule. When last year they played, I think, one of the easiest schedules of all time, or of any Super Bowl champion. So I'm going to put them in would win the NFC South because I think they're going to finish with 8 to 9 wins, maybe 10 wins. They would win that division, but I don't think they'd go any farther than that. I think the team has a lot of work to do. They lost Clavon Chase on, so like they lost some guys in free agency. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, the Saints. You're going to notice a trend here. They would finish last place in the NFC North. I think they're going to improve this year overall, maybe to again 7 or 8 wins, but that's good enough for last place in the NFC North. I think Tyler Shuck could be an above average starter. The problem is the rest of the team is buns. The receivers, Chris Olave had his first healthy season in God knows how long, so I'm not going to say anything. But the receivers behind him, obviously, they traded Rashid Shaheed away at the deadline. Taysom Hill is still there. Alvin Kamara and Travis Achan are now there. Alvin Kamara's been there. He's getting really old. The defense is really old. I think Cam Jordan might still be there. I probably is, honestly. Probably be there until he dies. Um, you have some interesting guys in the secondary. I wonder who's going to replace Demario Davis at linebacker for them. I know Pete Werner's there. I wonder if he just kind of steps into that role or if they go after somebody in the draft. But they're going to be last place in the NFC North. I'm sorry. 49ers, I think they're going to be a Super Bowl or bust. They just signed Mike Evans. The team should be healthy now that Brandon Ayuk is going to be off the roster. Um, we're going to hope Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy for another year. Trent Williams is back. We're hoping Fred Warner comes back. Nick Bosa comes back. Michael Williams takes a step. I think they just signed Dre Greenlaw again to come back to form that duo with Fred Warner that they've had. So I think this is a Super Bowl type roster, but it's all about if they can put it together behind the man, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant himself. The Commanders, I'm honestly not a huge believer in. And the reason why is they're so old. They keep signing really old players. I know they've gotten younger in free agency, right? They signed Odafe Owe and some other guys in free agency that are a little bit younger, but they have one of the oldest rosters in the NFL while having a really young quarterback. And Jaden Daniels just got hurt last year, and I hope he doesn't continue to get hurt, but those types of injuries seem to linger at least into the next season. I don't know what they're doing at running back right now. The receiver, I think Terry McLaurin wants out. I don't know if he actually wants out or not, but he's made like cryptic. I think he's made some posts and he's kind of mentioned he wants out. They have Rashad White out of the backfield now, I guess, and the defense just is really old or bad or old and bad. Um, they were one of the worst defenses last year, and they didn't get that much better, at least to me. The Chargers. Chargers, I think, could be the 2025 Patriots. And here's why. Jim Harbaugh just builds a really great foundation. And I understand, by the way, the Chargers I think they won like 10 games, 11 games maybe. But I think they can make that 14 to 15 win jump. I really think they have the opportunity to do that. They're going to have they don't have a first place schedule for one. They have a really solid running game foundation, and I just gotta bank on these tackles being healthy for at least 1 year. Like the Vikings, where one of them gets hurt every single year, the both of them get hurt every single year for the Chargers. Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt have been getting hurt consistently, and they got to be healthy this year. If they're healthy this year, I think Justin Herbert can pass for 5,000 yards. I think they're going to draft a receiver or receiving tight end in the draft to upgrade that receiving room. And overall, like they have Lad McConkey, they have Aronde Gadsden, they have Quentin Johnson who showed life. And the defense, if you're playing under Jim Harbaugh, you're just going to be good, or else you're not going to be there. So I think the Chargers can take that 2025 Patriots jump. I know the Patriots had 3 to 4 wins the year before and jumped all the way to 14. I'm talking about a jump of a team who was not in the playoffs or barely in the playoffs, or a team you don't expect to make a deep run next year to make a really, really, really deep run. Indianapolis Colts. I'm down on the Colts. I think Gardner Minshew will play for you at some point because he already did. He already did play for the Colts. I'm not a believer. I am not a believer in giving Alec Pierce $28 million. I'm not a believer in giving Daniel Jones almost $50 million. And I'm not a believer in the rest of this roster. You're wasting Jonathan Taylor's prime years. Traded Michael Pittman away. Got really nothing in return except for like a fifth round pick or something. I guess. Um, Not a fan of the defensive line. Quiddy Pay is gone. Not that he was elite or anything, but he is gone. You have two tackling machines at linebacker that I'm not a fan of. I don't think they're not really good in coverage at all. And you Sauce Gardner a corner mixed in with a bunch of other baloney. They're going to be a bunch of Swiss cheese sandwiches back there in 2026. Did I mention I don't like Daniel Jones? Well, we'll move on. The Browns. We'll move on. The Jets. They look like Zac Efron 2026. The Jets keep making these improvements, and I keep thinking they're trying to make improvements. I just don't. I'm not a believer in Aaron Glenn. I think the Jets in 2026 are going to be like Zac Efron in 2026, looking bad, feeling bad, and looking a little slimy. They traded away Justin Fields for nothing. I don't know who their quarterback's going to be for next year. They still have Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall and a good offensive line. So people think they could be decent on offense, but I have no, like, without a good quarterback, I just have no way of seeing that. Defense is supposed to be decent, even though they did trade some guys, but I just think they're going to be really bad again, as per usual with the Jets, maybe 5 win ceiling. I'm so sorry, Jets fans. I accidentally clicked something. Here we go. The Lions. Lions would win the NFC South. They're going to be better this year. They're right. I know they missed the playoffs last year. They're going to be better. They had a really hard first place schedule. Jared Goff is still there and knows how to command an offense. Jameer Gibbs is going to be a bell cow now. I know he'll split carries some, but I think he's going to be a bell cow running back. I think they're truthfully going to unleash him this year. He's my like low key 1-1 pick in fantasy. Really excited for fantasy this upcoming year. And the defense is going to get better, right? They're going to have Hutch for a full season. They lost Alex Anzalone, which is a little big for them, but I think they're going to be able to replace him just fine. This is a big year for Terry and Arnold. Obviously, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph still back there, really aggressive, going to draw a lot of flags, but they're going to pick off a lot of balls. And this is going to be a big boomer bust defense in 2026. Obviously, had a couple retirees on the offensive line. I think the Lions are going to address that in the draft, although that is not addressed in this ranking. And I think they're going to be solid as long as they have Goff, Amon Ra, Jameer Gibbs, and Aiden Hutchinson. I think they're going to be an 8-win team minimum every single year. So I think they're in a decent spot. Eagles are always Super Bowl or bust. If they don't win Super Bowl, it is a failure of a season. Last year was rough for the Eagles. Um, I don't really know what to say. I'm not a Jalen Hurts believer. I never have been. Ever since the day he got drafted, I have not been a believer in this. It's just been because I watch some college football. I don't watch every college football game, but when I hear people talk about traits, I sometimes light bulbs go off and they don't. Like when they say Jalen Hurts does not have a strong arm, he's not the most accurate, but he's agile, but he chooses, when to run. He doesn't run that often for a mobile quarterback. I'm like, he switched schools because he didn't fit with Alabama's more pro style offense. Like I just don't. And then in the NFL, he doesn't make plays on his own. He has a pretty good deep ball, but not the strongest arm. He takes unnecessary sacks. Just not a Jalen Hurts guy. But the roster around them is so good that it does not matter. They have one of the best defenses. They lost Nakobe Dean, but they still have Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Reed Blankenship, Zach Bond. I mean, they're going to have some guys filling in throughout the year. And obviously, they have Jalen Carter along that defensive line. So it's going to be a really good team. And then basically the offensive line is still the same ever since Jason Kelsey left. They have obviously Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. I wonder if Cam Jurgens is going to take that step up. In Tyler Steen as well at the left guard spot. He was a little disappointing, but I think he can bounce back. And then AJ Brown doesn't look like he's getting traded, so he's still there. Seattle Seahawks. The Super Bowl or bust. I mean, it's not Super Bowl or riot because they just won one. So there's Zac Efron 2013. They're going to be great in next year. I fully anticipate them still being really good. But they have a Super Bowl, so if they don't win one, it's fine. Like they had their ring that they just got, and they're going to be a really good team next year. Fun to watch, coming off a Super Bowl. See if there's any Super Bowl hangover. And Sam Darnold, 2026 MVP maybe. Don't bet it. Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to really miss John Harbaugh. I really do. I think they're going to miss John Harbaugh. He was such a key foundation. I know some people were kind of happy when he left. Some of the people that, like some of the players and coaching staff. You don't have to like a guy, you just have to respect him. And I think he put in a respectable foundation there for the season and well for every season. And I think that's gone. And they're losing some of the big guys that helped them win around the edges, like Jordan Stout, Patrick Ricard, Isaiah Likely. These are all really good players. Maybe at not the most important positions, but at positions that matter. These are positions that matter. These win you football games. As a Giants fan, if we had a good kicker last year, we have an extra 3 wins, but we did not, so we didn't win those games. So that's like the definition of winning around the edges. But they are going to win the NFC South regardless. They're too talented. Lamar's too talented. Derrick Henry's still there. Zay Flowers is still there, and they have a defense that always starts out slow, but it always turns out to being stout by the end of the year. The Raiders. The Raiders are gonna. I think since they got Max Crosby back, yeah. No, you know what? I'm going to take out this tier. This Gardner Minshew will play for your team at some point. That's not a good enough tier. That's not a good enough tier. Hold on, let me delete this tier. I'm going to put both the Colts and the Raiders into last place in the NFC North because I truthfully think they do finish there. I think they're going to finish around that 7 to 8 win mark, maybe 6 to 8 win mark, which would be third in a lot of divisions, maybe even second, especially if you're in the NFC South. But for the Raiders, Fernando Mendoza is going to be there. I think he's going to play fine. It's going to be really hard. It's really hard for a number one overall pick and come in and win instantly, which is why I don't think he's going to do that. But since they have Max Crosby and stuff, I think their defense could be serviceable. And with his constant learning in the NFL as he's going to do, I think last place in the NFC North is perfectly reasonable at 6 to 8 wins. The Rams are Super Bowl or bust. Matthew Stafford is there. They've traded for Trent McDuffie, signed some other players. I'll sign a lot of players actually. Given up first round pick. I mean, the Rams don't care about draft picks for shit. They keep trading them. Matt Stafford, Puka Nakua are there. They're going to be a grand offense. And then they have that stout defensive line: Byron Young, Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, some really good linebackers, Note Boom, and then you got Quentin Lake on the back end, along with Trent McDuffie, and this roster is so good. I love the Rams. I think they could win the Super Bowl next year. Although my pick is the Broncos, I think it is a Broncos Rams Super Bowl. Uh, book it, book it, clip it, do whatever you got to do. Bengals will take a 2025 Patriots jump. It has been shown over the last 5 years if Joe Burrow plays football, they are winning football games. And I think they've really tried to improve the defense in this free agency. And I think they've done a pretty good job. Um, Getting a couple pass rushers as well. And Joe Burrow's going to play football next year. Hopefully, if he plays, they make a deep playoff run. That's pretty self-explanatory to me. I hope it is to everybody else because Joe Burrow's an elite player, and they win football games when he plays. Tennessee Titans. I am down on the Tennessee Titans. I think they're going to be Zach Efron 2026. I think they're going to look bad. I don't like the signings they made. Basically brought over a bunch of Giants who were good for a year or Jets that were good for a year. We saw what a Brian Daboll led offense looked like in New York with Jackson Dart or Daniel Jones. I know it was better under Dart because I think Dart's just a really good player, but I'm not a fan of what the Titans are doing. I'm not a Cam Ward guy traditionally. I think he's a poor man's Caleb Williams. Um, his best receiver is now going to be a 5'9" guy, and then you have Calvin Ridley on the outside who's like 32 years old. Chimere Dike is a returner. Running back room, you're still looking at Tony P and Tajay Spears. Offensive line still isn't great. I know they still like Peter Skoronsky's improving. JC Latham isn't very good. And then the defense is the biggest thing where they signed Cordell Flott, but like not a ton other than that. I'm just not a believer in this team for the first year. I know Robert Saleh took the job thinking that that could be the case, but I see them as Zac Efron 2026 finishing between 3 and like 5 wins. Like this is like a 5 win ceiling right here, and I think they have 3 to 5 win ceiling. The Falcons are going under the Browns. In fact, we are going to rename the tier the Browns and the Falcons because the Falcons are going to be really bad. They have two left-handed, injury-prone starting quarterbacks. Probably the first time that's ever been done in NFL history. They had one. They decided that one wasn't enough, and they got a slightly better, more concussed um, left-handed quarterback. Can somebody explain to me what this franchise is doing? I mean, I don't understand. I talk to Falcons fans all the time. You know, living close to Atlanta, like being in Florida, and they say the same thing. They don't know. They're like, well, I don't know what the hell this team is doing. James Pierce got arrested. The cornerback room is awful. Besides AJ Terrell, the linebackers. I'll be honest with you, off the top of my head, after Caden Ellis and he signed somewhere else, and I think he signed with the Patriots in free agency. I have no idea who else is on that roster. And the defensive line, yeah, you have like Arnold Ebiketie and some decent guys, but James Pierce, is he going to play week one? Is he like what? Is there going to be discipline from this? I just don't see them having a great year. I think they're finished like 2 to 4 wins. That's tops the 4 wins. While we're here, I'm just going to put the Dolphins in the last tier. If you want a bigger explanation on the Dolphins, watch my last video on how I think they're going to perform the next 5 years with Malik Willis. Just watch that video. The Giants. I think the Giants have the potential to take a 2025 Patriots type jump. Although I think they have the potential to do that. I think they're going to win the NFC South or would win the NFC South. I think John Harbaugh, I love John Harbaugh as a new coach. I am a Giants fan, so this might be a little bit biased, and I completely understand that. I think they're going to improve with a full season of Jackson Dart and Malik Nabers actually playing. Dexter Lawrence playing on a contract year. And then hopefully they've filled out some pieces around the edges with Greg Newsome, Ardarius Washington, Isaiah Likely, signing Ricard and Jordan Stout. It's really good around the edges type players. Getting Cam Scadu back for a full year with Tyrone Tracy, re-signing Jermaine Illuminor. They need some guards pretty badly, and they need some defensive tackles pretty badly. But I think they can easily get to 8 to 9 wins and can win the NFC South if they were in that division. So that's my opinion. I completely understand if you guys want to disagree with that in the comments. I think 8, 9 wins is completely fair for this Giants roster and maybe sneaking into the playoffs. Arizona Cardinals, Zac Efron 2026. Again, Zac Efron, you have like his face is shiny. The Cardinals have a couple shiny toys. I also have a couple of shiny toys. But other than that, the roster just lacks so much depth in all areas. I mean, you have Buda Baker as a safety, nobody else. You have Zaven Collins as an edge rusher, nobody else. You have James Conner at running back, nobody else. You have Paris Johnson, the offensive line, really nobody else. I mean, you have a couple shiny toys and nobody else. So again, 3 to 5 wins is what I'm picturing you at, 5 win ceiling. You look like Zac Efron in 2026. And this bird almost looks like Zac Efron. If you really squint, change the skin color, take off the yellow beak. Okay, let's move on to the Steelers. I think we all know where they're going. It is pineapple on pizza. They're going to be average. People are saying that the Steelers are going to finish with like a really bad record this year. Do you know the Steelers? They've finished 500 with Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, old Michael Vick, Dwayne Haskins, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. It doesn't matter who they have at quarterback. They're going to get to 500 or 8 wins as long as the Steelers exist. I know they don't have Mike Tomlin anymore. They're running back the same freaking roster. They just added Michael Pittman to it. They're going to be average. They're going to be pineapple on pizza. And that is the end of our tier list. Please let me know if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and like the video. It is greatly appreciated. and tell me who you would change. I love to love to have conversations in the comment section. This is what sports is. It's beautiful. So everybody's gonna have differing opinions. Clearly, the Panthers fans disagree with me, and I appreciate that. So have a wonderful day, and I will talk to everybody later and see you in the next video.